Hello students, myself Milan Patel, Assistant Professor at LJIET Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today we will start a new topic which is technical terms of stone masonry. So let's start. First of all, we will see what is the meaning of masonry. Masonry may be defined as the construction of building units bonded together with mortar. If you construct any wall or any structure with the help of various building units with the help of mortar, you can say it is a masonry. Okay. Building units may be stones, blocks, bricks, etc. Depending upon the type of building unit used in the construction, masonry may be of the various types. First is stone masonry, second is brick masonry, then hollow concrete block masonry, reinforced brick masonry, composite masonry, etc. Okay, today we will see stone masonry. Okay, first of all, we will see various technical terms of stone masonry, starting with natural bed. You can clearly see in this figure, the building stands are obtained from the rocks. These rocks have a distinct plane of division along which the stone can easily be split. Okay, this plane represents the natural bed. Okay, the plane at which the rocks have a distinct plane of division is called as the natural bed. In stone masonry, the direction of natural bed should be perpendicular or nearly so to the direction of the pressure. Okay. Second term is sill. You can clearly see sill in this figure. The bottom surface of door or window opening is known as sill. Steel stones are so dressed that they prevent the entry of water to the interior of the building. Okay, and also gives support to the window frame or you can say door frame. Okay. Third is corbel. Okay, you can clearly see corbel here. A corbel is a projecting stone which is usually provided to serve as support for roof truss, beam, weather shade, etc. The corbels are generally molded and given ornamental treatment. The corbels should extend at least two-thirds of their length into the wall. Okay, this projecting part of the stone is called as the corbel. Next is course, or you can say layer. It is a layer of stones or brick is known as course. Its thickness is generally equal to the thickness of stone or brick plus the thickness of one mortar joint. Okay. Next is cornices. A cornice is a course of stone provided at the top of the wall. You can clearly see cornice in this figure. It is generally molded and given ornamental treatment. It is weathered and throated to dispose of rainwater. In order to prevent the overturning of the cornices, the sufficient bearing and extra weight at the top in the form of a parapet wall should be provided. Next is coping. A coping is a course of stone which is laid at the top wall so as to protect the wall from rainwater. You can clearly see coping in this figure. This course is generally provided at the top of compound wall or a parapet wall and it is suitably weathered and throated. Sometimes the term coping is also used to refer to cutting of stones by means of feathers, slugs, and wedges. Next is weathering. The upper surface of stones used for sill, cornice, and coping is traced in a sloping way so that the water may flow off easily. This term is called as weathering. You can clearly see weathering in this figure. The term weathering is sometimes used to denote the wearing of stone surface by the action of weather. Okay. Next is throating. It is a groove which is provided on the underside of sill, cornice, and coping so that the rainwater can be discharged clear of the wall surface. It is known as throating. You can clearly see throating in this figure. Next is plinth. The projecting course at ground floor level is known as the plinth. You can clearly see plinth level in this figure. It is also used to indicate the height of ground floor level from the ground level. The course protects the interior of a building from rain, water, frost, etc. It is sometimes molded and given ornamental treatment also. The offset at plinth level is sometimes omitted for the architectural purposes. Okay. Next is string cores. You can clearly see string cores in this figure. The horizontal cores provided as suitable levels between plinth and cornice is termed as string cores. It breaks the monotony of plane surface and it is sometimes molded and given architectural treatment also. The string cores is suitably weathered and throated so as to throw off the rainwater clear of the wall surface. Okay, this is called as string cores. Next is lacing cores. The horizontal cores provided to strengthen a wall of irregular small stones is known as lacing cores. You can clearly see the number of layers of this wall stones. Okay, it may be in the form of either ashlar masonry or coarse rubble masonry or brick masonry also. What is ashlar masonry? What is coarse rubble masonry? We will see in the next minutes. Next is spells, the chips of stones used to fill up the empty spaces in the stone masonry are known as spells or snacks. Okay, they are obtained as a result of reducing the big blocks of stones into the regular stone blocks. Okay, next is quoins. The external corners or angles of wall surface are called as quoins, and the stones or bricks forming the quoins are known as the quoin stone, or you can say quoin brick. Okay, you can clearly see queen stone or queen brick in this figure. Okay, next is bond. It is an arrangement of layers of stones or bricks by which no continuous vertical joints are formed. Okay, next is through stone. In stonework, some stones at regular intervals are placed right across the wall. These stones are known as the through stones, or you can say throws, or you can say bond stones. Okay, you can clearly see through stones in this figure. Next is jambs. The size of the openings, such as doors, windows, etc., are known as the jambs, and they are constructed similar to quoins. You can clearly see jambs in this door figure also. Okay, it is one type of size of the openings of doors and windows. Next is revels. The exposed vertical surface at right angles to the door or window frame are known as the revels. You can clearly see revel in this figure. Next is heads. The horizontal stones provided at the top of openings for doors, windows, etc. are known as heads, or you can say lintels. You can clearly see head here in this figure. Next is toolings. The horizontal sittings which are provided to receive jambs and mullions are called as stoolings, and they are formed at the ends of sails, transoms and heads. Okay. Next is label. The projecting course from an arc or window head is known as label. It is usually molded and is sometimes known as dripstone. Okay. Next is apex. The coping provided at the summit of a gable wall is known as an apex, or you can say summit stone. Okay, you can clearly see apex in this figure also. Next is skew corbel. The corbel provided below a gable coping is known as a skew corbel. Okay, you can clearly see skew corbel here in this figure. Next is kneeler. The coping between apex and skew corbel in case of gable wall is known as kneeler. Okay, you can clearly see kneeler here in this figure. Next is springer. The coping provided at the foot of gable wall is known as springer. You can clearly see springer in this figure. Next is finial. The ornamental finish to an apex or summit stone is termed as finial. Okay, you can clearly see ball finial in this figure. Okay, next is buttress. A buttress is a sloping or step pier, and it is provided to work as lateral support of the wall. Okay, next is pilaster. A right angle columnar projection from a wall or a pier is known as pilaster. Okay. Next is face. The surface of wall exposed to weather is known as face. Okay. And the material which is used in the face of wall is known as facing. Okay. What is back? The inner surface of a wall which is not exposed to weather is known as back. And the material used in this back is called as backing. Okay. What is hearting? The portion of wall between facing and backing is known as hearting. Okay. That's all about technical terms of stone masonry. Thank you for watching.